What a weekend, huh? How about it? Welcome back, .NET Phillies. I am your luxurious host with the most, Jared. Of course, uh, you know, obviously I'd like to be doing more content-wise, with the pod and everything, but there's only so much I can talk about, and I wish I could have gotten around to this sooner, but Dave Dombrowski made the trade. We were all waiting for the Dave Dombrowski trade, and we all thought he was going to deplete the farm system for it. Luckily, that didn't happen. So, obviously, on Saturday, I'm recording this on January 11th, which is a Wednesday. On Saturday afternoon, Dave Dombrowski calls up the Tigers and says, here's a rumor that you guys have an all-star closer and a good utility guy. We want him, so we're gonna get him, and that's the guy did the damn thing. So on Saturday, the Phillies and the Detroit Tigers were in agreement on a trade that sends Gregory Soto and Corey Clemens to the Philadelphia Phillies in exchange for Nick Maton, Matt Vierling, and Donnie Sands. So initially, Jim Salisbury from the top rope in baseball heaven where he is. Obviously, Jim Salisbury covers the Phillies. He's like the guy. He's the Phillies beat reporter. He since has decided to step away from NBC Phillies. So we love Jim Salisbury and NBC for hiring. I'm around, so you know where to find me. But Jim Salisbury tweeted out that he's hearing rumors that the Phillies are in on a Soto trade for Gregory Soto, not Juan Soto, obviously. And I was laying in bed with Ashlyn and we were just kind of chilling, like hanging out. It was the day after my birthday, and I saw it kind of all breaking down. It was really cool to see. Because Salisbury tweets that, and then the baseball world kind of sees that and is getting rumors about like what's going on. And I thought it was just going to be Soto. I thought the trade was just going to be Soto for XYZ because Tigers are probably selling extremely high on this guy, probably going to cost a lot. My immediate thought is Mick Abel was going to be in the trade, and I'm fine with parting with Mick Abel. I really do feel like he's the odd man out, and he's still going to be great. Like, don't misunderstand me, but when you have a guy like Painter kind of shoot up as high as he did, and Abel's still extremely young, so I'm not worried about him. But my immediate thought is Mick Abel was going to be in the trade. I thought maybe Johan Rojas was going to be in the trade. I didn't know what to expect in terms of a return. And then when I saw Clemens' names attached with Soto, I'm like, ugh, that's going to be a hefty price. And honestly, obviously losing Matt Vierling, losing Nick Maton, Donnie Sands, we didn't really care about. The two main pieces to me that are going back to Detroit were Nick Maton and Matt Vierling. And it sucks to see them go. Because they had the whole daycare, and now the daycare doesn't exist anymore. Well, I mean, you still got Stott and Bowman. I'll die on the hill. Brandon Marsh is a part of the daycare. Deal with it. But then obviously Moniak traded to the Angels. Now Vierling and Maton have been shipped to Detroit. So it sucks to see, but if you look at it from a perspective of these guys were bench bats, they didn't have an opportunity here. Obviously, second base is, or the infield taken up by Bohm has third base. Obviously, you signed Trey Turner long term; he's at short, and you have Stott at second base now, and Reese at first. So Maton didn't really have a spot. Vierling, I'm a little more upset about. Only because of the versatility and the speed that he had, and obviously the Car Shield commercials that we all know and love. So from a personnel perspective, it kind of sucks to see those guys go. But like I said, there wasn't really a space for them here. And I wish them nothing but the best. I hope they rake in Detroit. They're going to get everyday opportunities, which they deserve. I think Maton's ceiling is a little higher than Vierling's. I just think Vierling plays well to any big league club. He is I'm sorry, I kicked this over like an idiot. Professional over here. There we go. I think Veerling is a winning player. I think it's a guy that winning teams have. But if that's all you gave up, then it's a pretty big win. And I think it's one of these instances where there's not a clear winner in the trade. The Tigers got better and younger, and the Phillies got better. I think it's one of these instances where both teams win. Like Veerling and Maton didn't really have a spot, and even Sands didn't really have a spot on this team other than the bench. And the Phillies went out and got another reliever and got a guy in Clemens who, if you look at their batting stance with not Veerling, if you look at Clemens' batting stance and compare it to Maton, they have a very similar approach at the plate, and I think that might be something that Kevin Long can basically manipulate into what he did with Maton, because Maton's stance when he first got up, he had his hands a lot higher, and he was kind of doing that, and then would load, and his hands would end here, and it was a whole thing. Kevin Long kind of got his hands down here. He would kind of load up a little sooner and be able to drive the ball a little bit better. So, and if Clemens also has a very obviously Corey Clemens is the son of Roger Clemens, who should be a Hall of Famer, by the way. But anyway, so I'm excited to see what Soto is going to do here. I'm excited to see what Clemens is going to do here. Clemens basically takes over that super utility role. And now the Phillies are a damn good team. I mean, they already were a damn good team, and now they just got better. Like, I might put the tweet up, but I'll see how annoying it is. But I'll just read it to you because I really thought that this was a perfect tweet, encapsulating with the Phillies from Jared Carabas, who, if you don't follow him, follow him on Twitter. Carabas, shout out. Said the Phillies are doing the exact kind of thing. The Phillies are having the exact kind of offseason you'd love your team to have if they got all the way to the World Series and lost. Instead of falling back on them being the sixth suit who just got hot at the right time, Dave Dombrowski said, F that, we're going back. Which I love every single move that Dave Dombrowski's made this year. And the only signing, and this is just an embarrassment of riches, but the only signing that I'm worried about is Craig Kimbrell, and he's still probably going to be really solid for this team. And this was kind of the Dombrowski trade we were waiting for. You know, Dave Dombrowski's known for kind of going and getting guys no matter what it takes. He sees the window, he executes at that window, and will not stop until that World Series is taken. You know, you saw it in Detroit, you saw it in Boston, but I think it's a little different here. I think when he was hired in Detroit and when he was hired in Boston, the main objective of the owner was win us a World Series no matter what the cost. And then when he got here, I feel like John Middleton was like, yes, we want a World Series, but we want stability. And he kind of talked about how the Phillies for years, and this isn't just recently, but in like all time, the Phillies are bad at developing prospects and bad at finding, talent, fringe talent, like guys like Andrew Bellotti. And there's some guys I want to talk about later on. And Dave Dombrowski's mission here was not only set the Phillies up for success, which he has, but also sustainability. Get in those rookies who are really good and can be guys that are here for cheap for longer and get production. So say a guy like, God forbid, Trey Turner goes down. You bring up whoever to play short, and you still have guys on that bench of the big league roster. You have Guthrie, who I think they like a lot, who's going to kind of take over that Veerling role in the sense of the outfield. You have Sosa, you have Garrett Stubbs, and I'm trying to think, maybe they're not as Phillip on the bench. Anyway, they could still use a signing. Bring Andrew McCutchen back. Dave, you got my number. Just make it happen. But I think you got to look at what Dombrowski's done, and he saw holes in this team, and he's filled every single hole. Needed a shortstop, you sign Trey Turner. Need another starter, sign Taijuan Walker. Needed bullpen pieces, sign Matt Strom. Sign Craig Kimbrell. Traded for Gregory Soto. Like this Phillies bullpen is the best bullpen I've seen in a while. Um, and this bullpen, as on paper, obviously you got to pitch every game. Who knows if Bellatti's going to be able to keep it up? Who knows if Dominguez is going to be able to replicate what he did last year? So I'm saying on paper, this Phillies bullpen is one of the top 10. Like, I'm not saying that they're like the Dodgers or they're like the Astros, but they're up there, right? They have to be. You gotta give them some respect. And I'm saying all of this on paper. I don't want any of these clips to be taken out of context. This is all on paper. The Phillies have a top 10 bullpen in baseball right now. And you have the right guy steering the ship and Rob Thompson, who are going to execute guys. And it's good to see that they're not going to rely on a Kimbrel for the ninth inning only or Dominguez for the ninth inning only. They're going to play the matchups. They're going to, play the matchup. Say you have 3, 4, 5 coming up in the eighth inning, then Dominguez will pitch the eighth inning, and then whoever in the ninth. That is what won them the NL pennant, and that's what was so close to winning the World Series, was playing the matchups and not relying on one guy. So it's good to see that they have that. And I also wrote down in my notes that the Phillies bullpen, I wrote it down with like hard eyes. If you could see it, if it'll focus on the thing. Yeah, there it is. I wrote it with hard eyes. So the Phillies bullpen, as it stands right now, you have Craig Kimbrell, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Jose Alvarado, Gregory Soto, Connor Brogdon, Andrew Bellotti, Matt Strom, and Nick Nelson. Come on. Like, come on. That's another thing that the Phillies in years past lacked, was depth. Say you need Dominguez to get 5 outs one night. Okay. Now you don't have Dominguez available. Maybe there's a guy named Jose Alvarado that can tackle the ninth, or Gregory Soto, or Matt Strom, or hell, even Nick Nelson could do it if you really need him to. But he's built depth. He's not relying on the cowtail or the coattails of a couple guys. Like, Dave Dombrowski has built one hell of a bullpen, and that is one knock that he's always been criticized for in his career, has been his inability to build a bullpen. He's done that here, and you gotta give credit to the guy. And I love the guy. I never said a bad word about Dave Dombrowski. I'm excited to see how this team as a whole is going to perform. We're not worried about the offense. We know what the offense can do. You're getting another year of Stott, who's going to make adjustments. You get another year of Bohm, who hopefully that power develops. You know what you're getting from Schwarber. Marsh, I'm excited to see for a full year. Castellanos, can he bounce back? Is Hoskins going to have a similar year? Same deal with Real Muto. Like, we know what this offense is capable of. And then, oh, by the way, you're going to add the MVP halfway through the season. So not bad. The starting staff kind of worries me a little bit, because there's just not another guy in the system. You could go with Plasmeyer, you can go with Chris Sanchez, you could go with Andrew Painter, you could go with a Bailey Falter as the 5, but I'm just a little worried about how Wheeler and Nola are going to be going into the season, because they've never pitched that long before. They've never pitched that many innings before. And you can tell Wheeler was dealing with dead arm by the end of the World Series. They pumped him full of something for Game 6, because he was dealing. Never should have taken him out, Rob Thompson. But anyway, yeah. So you have a 1 through 5 of Wheeler, Nola, Suarez, Taijuan Walker, and then do you go Bailey Falter? I think he's earned that spot. Do you go Andrew Painter as a Bailey Falter piggyback? Do you go a 6-man? Do you bring up Plasmeyer to fill in there? Because he had a pretty solid year in AAA last year. So there's options. I would have liked them to sign like a Johnny Cueto, who just went to the Marlins for super cheap. I would have liked to see a move like that. But I mean, I trust these guys. I trust Dombrowski. I didn't trust Clintack and Andy McPhail to make any decisions. But I trust Dombrowski that he has a plan and knows exactly what he's doing. And I trust Ani and those the analytics guys and Sam Fold and I trust this entire organization to make the right and smart decision. I never thought I'd see the day where the Phillies were a smart baseball organization, were like run correctly. But here we are in 2023. I never thought I'd see the day. Now there was a couple other moves that I would like to talk about that kind of went under the radar. And throughout the last week, since I recorded, the Phillies picked up three guys. Eric Ullman from the Cubs. They traded him for cash considerations. They signed John Duplanter to a minor league contract, and they traded, was it Eric Mill? For Junior Marte or Junior Marte, I think that's how you say it. It was for Eric Miller. Yes, I was right. So these three guys are very interesting. The most exciting one to me is Ullman, because I think it's a slider that he has, looks great. And he still posted like a mid-4 ER, or not a mid-4, like a low-4 ERA with the Cubs. I don't understand why the Cubs kind of gave up on him. But there's a reason the Phillies went and got him. That I feel like that's an Ani move. And, same thing with Duplanter. He kind of has a flat fastball, but his off-speed stuff is really good. And if you look at it, teams that increased cutter usage from 21 to 22, the Phillies were in the top 5 in that time. So I think using, maybe they can develop a cutter with him, can kind of play a little bit, play with the secondary stuff. So I like that move a lot. And Marte has a huge arm, has a live arm. He's averaging like 99.8 on his fastball. And he's a guy who the Phillies kind of have a type now where it's guys who throw hard that don't know where it's going. They think they can fix them. They fixed Sam Coonrod. They fixed Jose Alvarado. They're probably going to fix Gregory Soto, and they're probably going to fix Marte. But that's depth. That's depth in the bullpen. And that's, say you need 2 innings from a Nick Nelson, you can use him and then go to Ullman for 2 innings. Maybe you can get something out of him. Like, Phillies have depth now, and that's something that we never really had. It's a great feeling. I don't know if you can hear it, but the heating unit is on right now. I film in the basement of my house in case anybody was wondering, and the heating unit's on right now. So I don't know if you could hear it. I hope not. Probably not. I don't know. Who cares? But Phillies have depth, and I'm very, very excited to see where they go, how Rob Thompson's going to handle this bullpen, what decisions are going to be made coming out of spring training. I'm very excited. Spring training, we're very close to pitchers and catchers reporting. And before I go, I would be remiss to say, "Lol, Mets, meet the Mets, meet the Mets." Oh, you guys are real quiet now. And I know the Mets are still probably going to win 100 games, but whatever. They talked all that trash about signing Correa. And guess what Correa did? Signed with the Twins, bucko. So obviously, if you're watching this, you're probably a baseball fan. You know the Correa thing. So Correa signed a 12-year, $360 million deal, or was it 13, 360? I don't know, signed a huge deal with the Giants. Giants got spooked with something in his physical. And then as that deal fell apart, we woke up to the news that Carlos Correa was a Met. 12 years, like 320 or 330 or something. And then to no one's surprise, the Mets had the same issue with his physical. And then that deal fell through. And then the Twins gave him 6 years and 200 and passed the physical, and everything was fine. So I don't know what in God's name is going on with Carlos Correa's ankle, but thank you, because I don't have to deal with that person. I was about to say a bad word. I don't have to deal with him for the next 12 years of my life, because I don't have to. That being said, everyone's like, "Oh, the Mets are garbage." The Mets, they're still probably going to win 100 games. I don't know. Like, their team does not scare me. Like, I'm not afraid of the Mets, and I say that now, but I don't know, man. You got to play all the games, and yes, they kicked the hell out of us last year, but that was the Joe Girardi Phillies. It doesn't really count. Doesn't really count. The Joe Girardi Phillies does not count as a competitor in 2022. Um, but like if you look at the Mets, like they have Verlander now, which you have Scherzer, but then like what? You have Jose Quintana, you have Carlos Carrasco, you have that Japanese guy, and yes, on paper he is a very good pitcher, but you don't know how that's going to translate. We saw a guy like God, what's his name on the Blue Jays? He was on the Mariners. God, I need to look up his name, but he was very, very good in the KBO. Then he came over here and was you say Kikuchi. Kikuchi. Um, yeah, he was very good in the KBO, came over here and was terrible. So we don't know. And then their bullpen is what? Edwin Diaz? Is that it? Like, I feel like the Mets haven't done enough this offseason to um it I don't know. I'm not incredibly afraid of the Mets. I know I should be because again, they're probably still going to win 100 games, and there's probably no, the Braves are going to win the NL East. But anyway, um, yeah, that was pretty bad for them from that. So LOL Mets, go Phils. That's going to wrap it up here. Thank you very much for listening. And if you have any comments, leave them down there. If you got any concerns, you could always just send me a DM on Instagram. I'm not that hard to get a hold of. And again, thank you very much for watching. And we will see you in the next guy. Yeah, that was a terrible ending. I'm so sorry. But yeah, thank you.